Sorry. All right. Oh, I didn't mean to close that. My bad. Most definitely watch this. So curious.
And part of the reason why this camo is so special or iconic is because it was so rare to get it back then, since you could only get it through supply drops. And supply drops, well, they were kinda a huge gamble back then. You just never knew what you would get out of the boxes. It was truly a bad practice for consumers. Thankfully, times have changed, and now in BO7 you can actually unlock it legit. So, how do you unlock it? Well, you're gonna have to grind a new event that's gonna start on Thursday, June 11th. And in this event, you can unlock lots of camos. And in order to unlock the Cherry Fizz camo, you need to unlock the other event camos first. So you have to complete all of the camo challenges to unlock the Event Mastery camo for multiplayer, Warzone, Endgame, and Zombies. Only then you will get rewarded with the secret Cherry Fizz camo. And to be completely honest with you guys, this will be a huge, huge grind. But I guess it's fair considering how rare or special this camo is by now. Anyways, I will now talk about the challenges that you need to complete in each of the four game modes: Endgame,
What's good,
Warzone,
FSM?
Multiplayer, and Zombies.
So they added Cherry Fizz back from Black Ops 3. And it's going to come out tomorrow, the same goddamn time that Overwatch's drive starts, which is what like everybody does because you get extra comp points. So I'm the most stuck between a rock and a hard place I've ever been.
Since data miners already uploaded the requirements on Twitter. Shout out to them, I guess, for letting us know early. Anyways, I will start with the Zombies mode challenges now.
Yeah.
There, the AR challenge is to get
So realistically, Oh, dude, these are gonna be so ass. Okay. So I have to do, and this is no joke. If you remember back when I did the escalation directive shit, FSM, this camo, hold up. If you remember the pain of me getting each of these animated camos, and then once I got all four of those, it gave me incandescence, which was this one. We're getting inarguably the most popular OG camo back.
750 eliminations with Pack a Punch.
Oh my god, this looks so pain. Like, unironically, I think I have to figure out a method for tomorrow on what is the fastest way to do it because I need to get it done. And yeah, mind you, this is zombies challenges. There are this many challenges for all four game modes, FSM. Oh. Mm. Okay. Okay. 750 limbs with pack a punch assault rifle. Fine. 1,000 elims with SMGs from the mystery box. Probably fine as well due to high round. Use shotguns to eliminate 5 elites. Okay.
Level 3 assault rifles. Seconds 10 times. And lastly, for the melee challenge, you need to get 50 consecutive.
This is the saddest part is this is the easiest game mode we have.
Without taking damage with melee.
I don't even want to look at these upcoming
and this
ones.
one seems like the hardest one to do out of all of the challenges. Damage with melee weapons. And this one seems like the hardest one to do out of all of
Hold up. Some of these upcoming challenges might not be as hard as they used to. If he's saying 50 consecutive melee kills without getting hit, it is hard. He said it's the hardest, apparently.
My biggest tip for that would be to use decoy grenades, and preferably next to a workbench. You would just buy more and more and just for the zombies mode. Now I will talk about endgame. For the AR weapon category, you need to get
Okay. I have the ability to do a lot of these.
300 eliminations with rare or higher.
That's like most of this. I can get this in under an hour. Now, this is the one I'm not looking forward to.
Moving on to the multiplayer challenges, for the ARs, we
If I read, like I genuinely am gonna set up my fucking dab rig because I know I'm gonna get pissed reading it. For reference, last time, because they know how grimy and grindy multiplayer players are, it was just like get several hundred kills with these weapon types or like weapon class.
we have use an assault rifle to kill an enemy affected by your tactical or non-lethal score streak 50 times.
What? Wow. Okay. unironically, I think it'll be good.
For the SMG category, you need to get a kill on the melee weapons. For the ARs, we have times. For the SMG, or try to get 3 kills in the category, you need to get a kill here for the AR.
Wow. Okay. These are we still got the run, but if you happen to play OG like Black Ops 3 and this camo is familiar to you,
Anyways,
this is Cherry Fizz, their most popular camo that was hidden behind a paywall. You had to like get it from their supply crates. There was no way to earn it. And if you remember how I earned that one camo where I had to play multiplayer, zombies, end game, and whatever I'm missing there, multiplayer, zombies, campaign, and Warzone.
I will now talk about the challenges that you need to complete
In order to get this, I have to do all of these on zombies, all of these on endgame, all of these on multiplayer, and all of these on Warzone. Um, this comes out the minute Overwatch Drive starts, which is the last two or 1 week of competitive for the season, which is another bonus event that gives you goodies. I don't know when I'm supposed to be allowed to sleep. It's actually like kind of bonkers how much Overwatch and this I'm going to be playing for the next 2 days. Sorry, for the next 7 days. Do I like try and figure out how to like put these together so I can like make an order of operations? I think we do. I think we do. Let's pull up a notepad and get something worked out. So, for these challenges specifically, and just in case the screen's too blurry, let me up the graphics or the quality so you guys can see it. All right. So, Pack-a-Punch 3 assault rifle. I don't know. Trade with the goat and the rose. Thank you so much, my man. Cherry Fizz grind prep. Okay. AR 750 kills. PAP 3. SMG 1K box elims. So are there any other elite ones except shotgun? Nope. So elims. I know how I'm gonna do this. Easy knockout first. AR, SMG, LMG, 10 Carnage Metals, 15 Rapid. Marksman, 5 Rapid Crit, Kills, 25x. Sniper, 300 kills with cryo or napalm. That is fucking weird. No, I don't need to type it all. Launchers or special weapons to heal 10 enemies in 5 seconds. 10x. And then melee 50 kill, no hit. So those, hands down, are the easiest ones.
Challenge is to get 10 Carnage, 5 Red Challenge, ammo monsters, and times. Taking my, you would just also combine the AR weapon category. You need.
Okay. Okay. I unironically think this is going to be the hardest. Only because there's going to be so many of these that if I don't have a class prepped for it, I'm just screwed. Yo, how you doing, Nolan? So the only reason why I say that I'm screwed is I mean, wait, Nolan, I don't know if you ever played it, but if you know about it, the beautiful, the all new and
Now
improved
talk about the challenges that you
Cherry
need to
Fizz
complete in
camo
each of the 4
from
game modes.
BO3
Okay.
is in this game now, locked behind a mastery paywall. Yep. Yeah. Not paywall. I don't know why I said paywall. It's not. It is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times 4. 36 different categorically per weapon type per game mode challenge. Now that's not a big deal. I've gotten that done before with the previous one. I didn't play Overwatch at the same time though. And now that I do, and Activision owns both this and Overwatch, the fact that they're dropping the last week of the comp season, which is called drives, it gives you like a cool little like name tag and you get more comp points. And then the biggest W is queue times are faster. I have to do that in between this. In between my round 500 plus. Yeah, that's like the biggest W. Like I don't care if I'm literally 0 and 20 during drives. It gets me queues. And that's the only reason why I'm not mash spamming the game yet. Like I know when dude, you're nuts, bro. You are nutty. I'm low key gonna bug a homie of mine to see. Oh, dude, I'm sorry. Oh, God. All I know is this event better last a long, long time.
Five times. And now let's also move on to Warzone. Here for the AI.
It's such a good emote. This seems like the easiest one for me. This just looks like play Warzone with every weapon class. Multiplayer is where, like, I would unironically give one of you guys my fucking accounts so I didn't have to play that game mode ever again. I, I, I want to know what non-military operative, like CIA agent with like a mental of gridiron that is like, yippee, I can't wait to go barely even in Call of Duty for the 10th year in a row. Like, something about it, I guess the way I play FPSs, the way you have to play COD sucks to me. Like multiplayer, not in general, but it just feels rough. I don't know how else to explain it. You ever see a zombie get corner peeked? I thought you were about to say you ever seen a zombie get counter strafed, but I was like, I don't think I have. It's kind of hard. It was kind of dummy, ain't gonna lie. All right. Oh wait, the gobblegum thing got refreshed. Let's see, anything worth it? Nope. Because there's a really good chance I won't be able to do my high run, at least while I'm unlocking stuff. Oh, I don't want to do it. And I know I need to keep Overwatch for last. Because if I don't taper Overwatch with, like, or if I don't taper COD multiplayer with immediate Overwatch, I might have an aneurysm.
That was Astrid. She used to live here. Richtofen knew that already.
Let's go gambling. First round back, we get a gambling man round? Okay. They seem to like us today, fellas. These are the only rounds that I find boring, but at the exact same time, I don't because they save me almost 10 minutes now each. So, love y'all. Dankeschön. Bro, even these rounds aren't slow or aren't long. Ow. I think they were beating my ass up like that. Big old manies. Yippee! I love gambling! Oh. Always nice to get a whole round done in 5 minutes. And I know I can make those even quicker if I'm confident. I'm spooked. Give me 1 sec. I am just updating my Pokemon Go as we speak. Void Pekka, welcome, welcome. Okay. Being Dark Heart with the rose, thank you so much. I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday, hon. I didn't see what the ping said. Hold up. Nah, I trust it.
You're welcome. I am just laying down until I get sleepy.
Heck yeah. Ah, it's what's good, go.
That was Astrid.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. With the
What's up, brother?
with the upcoming Cherry Fizz thing just getting announced and all that, and the fact that because I play this and Overwatch, which are the only two like big games that Activision Treyarch runs, the moment those drop tomorrow, something in Overwatch does too, and I have the same small amount of time that the event in this will give me. I have a request, Ots. How difficult is it for us to, magically appear in one another's multiplayer matches. Hypothetically, of course. Because I can handle every one of them challenges. Except those multiplayer ones, bro. I will literally be stuck on that game mode for the foreseeable forever.
That would be badass, bro.
If you would be willing to do that, I would obviously 1,000,000,000% return the favor. But it's called competitive drive in Overwatch, and essentially the last week of its season is like the only time like it goes back to OG population, because the game has gotten a lot better, but the people don't all come back for it. And because a lot of people come back for this, it makes it to where like I basically have to be playing like Jesus, probably like 30 games a day would be like perfect, but I obviously want to get my cherry fizz on. And I'm thinking if me and you did, because I did this on accident in gun game, where I would keep finding the same people, but they were like clearly not the exact same person, and I would just farm the hell out of them. And then I added one of them, and we were able to join like party game modes together. So if I'm gonna be honest, if it lets us do that, even if it's something like painful as hell, I feel like that would save the time that I'm stressed about, which is the like get 50 kills while an enemy is affected by your tactical with an AR or something. But yeah, I'm going to bed insanely early today to make sure I'm up, like, ready and getting it. I'll probably be doing...
That's gonna be easy on Nuketown, bro.
That is a very good point. Well, oh, yeah, you're right. Dude, I just suck at Nuketown. Like, I'm not kidding. I am terrible at COD multiplayer. I wish there was a way. That was the weirdest crash I've ever had. Sorry about that on TikTok, y'all. I don't know what that was. We officially got one extra one extra uh set of Amazon gift cards from Zin. Bro, QR codes can suck it. Here we go. Bam. Uh, Probably not. If anything, I'm gonna be a head ass and use it either on Pokemon or Overwatch. I'll be the first one to admit it. I just can't decide. I didn't realize there were this many e-gift cards. Holy. Dude, I could buy a Visa card with it and then. Oh, shit. Are you not able to hear it? One sec. There you go. That should fix it.
Type shit.
But yeah, between Pokemon, because I know the upcoming Go Fest, but at the same time, I feel like if I had that balance on my Blizzard for Overwatch, I would feel so satisfied. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, fuck it. No life. We're putting on. We're buying a $100 Blizzard card. Fuck it, we ball. Uh,
BRB.
bet. Let's take a quick little dab, why don't we? still need to send me a picture for that banjo. Oh, that's right. Yo, do y'all know of any strat? Because I need to think of how to do this. Are there any physical... Wait. Oh, bet. That's annoying as shit, dude. I'm sorry. So what's funny about this map, Nolan, is Gnome Dome got officially patched. So I got mad and I found officially the fastest high round strat that exists on this game. Low key, I'm very thankful they did because before before me and you played, I didn't have this baller helmet, and basically that helmet single-handedly gives me power vacuum for the rest of the game. Like, it's not like Black Ops 3 level power vac, but it is good enough to essentially camp in this island forever, and I found a way to keep a door shut and limit spawns. And so this is the fastest spawn rate that this island can have. Because there's a door back there that you technically have to open to get the wonder weapon. Yeah. Like this one back here is shut. And that doesn't seem like a huge thing, but when I tell you how fucking difficult it was, I cannot put it into words. I didn't even do that. How is that not off cooldown yet? We're playing a little juicy. You haven't complimented me on my abomination hand. Well, did you see the... Look at the buggy left hand. Look at... I'm like holding it out like a zombie. You're not supposed to have these akimbo. And it doesn't really know what to do. thermal pistols. My children. Let's see if I can do one of my round clears. I doubt it. That was a wipe and then some. Jaden Cool Gamer, Jaden Cool Gamer YT, welcome, welcome. Oops. But you already know your boy has to be one of the first people on Earth to have cherry fizz. So, no matter what it takes.
Coconut water.
You know it. So on this question, my thought was, what if I just make like the next couple days just raw, like Overwatch days, where I'm playing Overwatch up until like 5 or 6, and then I'm doing all the challenges for COD at night, because then on average I'll have more middle-aged dads that come home and suck shit at the game. All love to you middle-aged dads. Honestly, that would work a good bit. Yeah. Because, like, you know how many more people, like, stream Overwatch midday, right? And then this is the least common thing. And then the people that will do this, they'll do it, like, all day. And they don't have other games to do. But I'm not going to lie. Like, even today, where I know for a fact that if I have a round 600 run to start the weekend off, I could probably make it. Damn. If today's ranked games are good and I play well, there's a chance. What makes me sad is I literally have to choose what game I'm sacrificing tomorrow at least because of people coming over for Smash. Which obviously, you know, I want that, so it's not like I'm like, oh man. It's more like just trying to think how I plan it out. And I honestly wish I could emphasize to you just, like, if I could RP right now to you, the amount of relief I would feel if somebody told me they just magically can, like, unlock my multiplayer stuff. I would have stopped talking about this, like, 20 minutes ago. Completely no stress at all. But I'd rather stress about a game that I know I'm not good at than a game I know I'm good at and not play well. So, hey, that's level 800. Look. Hey, cold boy. I love my wife. Welcome. All right. I'm gonna bug some peeps to see if I can maybe convince homies to run some when this event starts. I'm gonna ask. Alright, let's get the video up. Or a video up. I don't know why I said the video. Pull it up.
Hi.
What's up, Sausage? How you doing, man? Ew. Wait. Noise.
Enough to drop that filler label and maybe replace it with something more like standard. I don't know. Let me just come back to that identity I was talking about earlier. It's a weird thing to say about a season, I know. But in this new lore-focused Overwatch, it's actually a thing. It's like a chapter in a book, instead of just being an update to the game. Well, you know what? It's actually both. It's a chapter in a book and an update to the game. That's even better. And in Season 3, the chapter is going to be, well, almost all Japanese. See, the OWCS had their championship clash last week, and they had it in Japan, which was reflected in all of the art and all of the teasers, including the stuff that they teased for Season 3. And I do not think that this is just a mere coincidence, because Season 3 is going to focus on the whole Shimada, Hashimoto, and Yokai story. Now, Hashimoto is one of those factions that aligned themselves with Talon, and they did that in exchange for weapons. They need weapons, really badly, because even with the Shimada clan being close to death, they still have a hard time maintaining their status and their grip on Tokyo, and then more specifically Kanezaka and Hanamura. And that is because of multiple reasons. There's the Yokai, Kiriko's gang, who have been disrupting all of their operations for the last, well, few years actually. And the local residents are basically covering up for them, while their enforcer is kind of reluctant to react because they're not really on their side. It's Kiriko's mom, so yeah. In Internally, one of the spies that they send out to deal with the yokai or to get information from the yokai is about to defect, in my opinion at least. And that weaponsmith that they're keeping captive, Kiriko's dad, seems to have lost his touch, or at least that's what he wants them to believe. On top of that, I wouldn't rule out the influence of what is left of the Shimada clan. I mean, Genji and Hanzo are still alive, and while they are not directly involved, I think there is still a bit of a cinder. So I think all of that is going to be front and center in season 3. And that is going to be noticeable in the comics, in the short stories, and the animations, and of course, in the new hero, the Hashimoto Elder, who in my opinion was sent in by the other elders to fix the situation at Kanezaka, to take grip of that chapter and get things straightened out. I made a whole video about this a few weeks ago, go have a look. One thing, however, that I want to add to that video is that I saw a lot of people asking me in the comments why I was convinced that she was going to be DPS. Well, for one, she's holding 2 big pistols, or revolvers, we don't know which one they're going to be. That is a bit of a sign. But second, I had a chat with Alec Dawson, well, it's going to be a few months ago now, and I asked him, are the next 5 heroes going to be divided again and 2 supports, 2 DPS, and 1 tank? And he said, yes, at the end of the year, you should have all those. But he hinted at the fact that they're going to release them a little lopsided, so to speak. So we're not going to get a DPS, a support, a tank, and then the others. It almost felt like he was warning us. Now, if season 4 is indeed going to be Demon, where's the tank? Most likely. Well, the only conclusion after that warning is that the season 3 hero is going to be DPS. So we have 2 DPS, tank, and then 2 supports. We're going to find out soon enough. But anyways, we have a Japanese themed season with a Japanese themed hero and a Japanese themed map. Tokyo. Well, it's called Neon Junction, but it is set in Tokyo. It is the first new map since Atlas, which was released almost a year ago. Holy hell, we've been waiting a long time for this map. We actually got a bit of a preview during the OWCS Champion Clash last weekend, and it looks amazing. It is a hybrid map with a ton of cultural references, like a huge mech, but also a good deal of lore. As you can see, Hashimoto clan buildings everywhere. This map looks like it's packed with fun details, and I can't wait to figure them all out and make a video for you guys. By the way, wouldn't this be like a really great moment to bring back Hanamura? Reintroduce the 2CP mode with a lot of changes to the maps and gameplay, but also in lore? No? Just me? Alright, fine. When it comes to cosmetics, I think we can expect all of the Battle Pass cosmetics to take on the theme, although that is not a given. In Season 2, that was completely not the case. We got all fairies in the Battle Pass. So, yeah, there's no more certainties in life. However, I personally would love to see some yokai and Hashimoto skins in there. That would be very appropriate. Now, when it comes to the shop, we're going to see a mix of some cute packs and then some edgy packs. So everybody gets something that they can buy. I do expect some summer team skins to be in there because, yeah, summer's coming. But I'm going to come back to that in a second. And other than that, we just need to take a look at some of the skins that they had in those surveys they sent out. Let's say mid-2025. That sounds about the period that we need to look at. Do a bit of an assessment of which bundles we're going to get in the shop. The mythics, on the other hand, they are going to have their own different path. And as always, we can expect 2 hero mythic skins and 1 weapon mythic skin. Now, predicting all of these has become, well, impossible, especially since they started dishing out second skins for some of the heroes. Made things even worse. But since this is a Japanese team season, I wouldn't be too surprised if Genshi's getting one of the mythics. I mean, we know that he's getting a second one this year. That was confirmed. And since Anna already got hers, Mercy got her second, he could be next. Now, the mid-season skin is most likely going to be a tank. How about Moga? Or Ramatra? I don't know. And for the weapon, I'm also thinking about a tank. Roadhog. There we go. Completely random guesses. Have a better chance of winning the lottery. But who would you like to see to get the mythic skins? Let me know in the comments. Next up, events. I do expect them to continue with this thing where they have a lore event going on in the first weeks of the season. And again, that is going to be tied into the Hashimoto versus yokai battle. A little touch of Shimada, maybe. At that point, Pride Month will still also be running. That actually starts tomorrow. And we're getting a free Life Weaver skin on top of all the previous price skins making a return. You get them all for free. Now, as I said earlier, we're going into summer. So you would think summer games. Well, maybe. They have been very inconsistent when it comes to the launch of the summer games in the last 2 years. I think last year they even waited till September to do so, which is calling it pretty late. And that could be the case, and then it's going to be pushed into Season 4. We'll see. But that would leave ample room for another collab event, for instance. Now, if I had to take a guess, there have been hints, or at least announcements around a collaboration with the Japanese musical duo Yoasobi. I don't know. I think I'm mispronouncing the name. But you know what I mean. Well,
Okay. Let's see.
Well, double XP codes are definitely the most efficient way to get through it. If you guys value your time and you've got things to be doing, you don't want to spend 20 hours grinding a little bit of double XP.
In this video, I will show you how to buy a gift card using the Amazon gift card. Go to your Amazon account and log in. Once there, on the search bar, type in the gift card you want to buy. For this example, I will use the Starbucks gift card. Enter the amount you would like to buy and fill in the email details. Choose the delivery date, and then you want to click on the Add to Card button. Then, click on the Proceed to Checkout button. You will know you can use Amazon gift card to pay for it if you see this Enter Gift Card, Voucher, or Promotional Code option. Input your code, and you can pay for it then.
Bro, this is so tilting. Hmm. Hmm. Hell yeah. I'm a little gremlin. We just got in the bag. That was actually amazing how much stuff I just got off of Amazon.
What's going on, guys? This will be talking about how to get the little Caesar codes in Call of Duty Black Ops 7, all the different rewards delivered to you instant.
Why these features were removed, and we'll answer if any of them
Indeed,
could
later.
or
Welcome, welcome.
should come back to the game. Overwatch was so different from Overwatch 2. It's hard to believe that for the first 2 years of Overwatch's life, there were actually 4 roles: tank, support, offense, and defense. The defense role featured characters that were good at locking down chokes, guarding locations, and holding the front line. It included the following heroes: Bastion, Hanzo, Junkrat, Mei, Torb, and Widow. And the offense role included the rest of the DPS heroes. Fun fact, Symmetra was originally a support hero despite not actually doing any healing, and was later moved into the damage role when she was reworked on June 26th of 2018. The same day that the defense and offense roles were combined into the damage role. Splitting the DPS characters into 2 separate roles really didn't make a lot of sense. All of the characters were viable on
Yo,
both
Jay,
attack
how you
and
doing,
defense.
go?
Sorry, I
Rarely
am
were the
back.
defense
No, bro,
characters the
you're
most
good.
optimal picks
I
in
am a
defense,
happy
and
camper.
the separation
So,
didn't have any actual impact on
I,
gameplay. The distinction only served as a mild suggestion
what's it
I
called?
was
to the
editing.
player that,
Hell
hey,
yeah.
these are the characters that you should play on
I,
defense. Now that the cast is much bigger,
like an
I
idiot,
think it would be
forgot you
reasonable to
can't
give
buy
players
gift
more
cards with
ways
gift
to sort the
cards.
heroes. Maybe
And I
by
may
the
or may
type of
not have wanted to
composition each
get
hero plays the best in, but the
$100
offense
in
and defense
Pokemon Go or
distinction was
Blizzard
really never useful,
from one of my
so it
Zen
makes
gift
sense
cards.
why it was removed.
And so
An
I
ounce of gold
added
is
it to my
worth
account and I
about
forgot to
$2,300
make it
US.
works.
A gold medal in Overwatch
You
was
have
worth
to,
nothing.
like,
Before we had the scoreboard we have now, we
unironically
had the medal system.
cheat the
A gold,
system and
silver, or
pretend like
bronze
it's a
medal was
voucher
given to
and
the
then
player
put it
with the
in,
highest
like,
stats on
at the
each team in the
end of
following
your order,
categories:
and then it can
eliminations,
sometimes work.
objective kills, objective
But I
time,
just said, fuck
damage
that.
done, and
Wasn't
healing
gonna
done.
deal with
So,
it.
if you had the most healing
And so
on
I
your
didn't.
team, you would have a gold medal in
And I
healing
started
done.
looking and I was like,
Pretty
okay,
simple,
Nick,
and
Oh,
it
man.
sounds like a
start
fun
looking
little
at stuff
system.
that you
Any
actually
honest
need. What are
Overwatch
you
1
what are
player
you
can tell you
needing?
why this
And then
got
I
removed.
forgot that it's Amazon.
Toxicity. See, the
And
medals were
the
really
gummies
the
that I've
only
been
information
missing
you
for the
had on
past like
performance of your
actual month
teammates.
because
You
the
couldn't see
store
their
near us
kills,
is like
deaths,
near
damage,
shutting
nothing.
down.
So all you
Thus,
can know is that
they're
if you had gold
overcharging
healing on Roadhog,
everything.
your supports were
Uh,
probably doing something
Are those
wrong.
like
I think we all know that Overwatch is a lot more
what is it?
complicated than I have gold elims as tank.
The
why is my
lion's
DPS
bane
doing
mushroom
their job?
gummies,
But that's
the
sort of
cordyceps and all
attitude the
that.
medal system created in the
That
player base.
unironically
Maybe the
used to
system would work better now that we
not
have
carry
more
me, but I could
information about
tell,
how not
and I
only
can
our
right
team is
now how
doing,
big a
but how the
difference.
enemy team is doing as well. But
Yeah,
if you're
having
decent at
that
Overwatch,
focus
you know
makes
that
me
stats
play
don't really
games.
tell the full story. You
And
do lots of
they
heals,
charge
damage, healing, and killing in the
$39.99
game
a
of Overwatch.
box
If you look
or a
closely at the
container of
actions that
90
really matter,
gummies. I
it's
eat
probably
3
like
of each gummy a day.
20%. A clutch nade,
I just got
headshot, those are the types of
2
things that
focus
make or break
packs,
fights.
so
Extra
180
2K healing
gummies,
you did on the tank while they stood
a
out in the
boost
open taking
pack,
chip damage,
so another
doesn't
90,
decide the
and
outcome of the
a
game,
calm
but it could
pack,
definitely
which
give
is
you a gold
another
medal in
90.
healing done. And if you had a gold medal
For
in healing done
70
on
bucks
Mercy and
on
your other support is
Amazon.
Moira, it's really easy to start pointing fingers when things aren't going your
I would
way.
charge that
While the medal
much.
system
They would
was
charge
fun,
me that much
it
in person
divided
for
flavors
less
and
than
didn't
2
really help
full jars.
clarify why your team was winning or losing. I think
I am
bringing it back would
so
really help
excited.
invite more of that toxicity back into the game. Right now in Overwatch, and for most of Overwatch 1, if the 2 teams tie,
Sounds like
you
a
go
deal.
into
Very.
overtime, where you take turns scoring until the tie is broken. You know how you would
It's
expect
literally the
tying to
only
work
reason
in
why I
pretty much
haven't been
every
able to
game.
just sit
Both
in
teams
this
get a fair
run
shot at
and just
breaking the
enjoy
tie and
myself
winning the
because I'll
match.
zone out
But
and I'll
in
get
Overwatch
bored.
1's first
But I'm
competitive
not
season,
bored.
a feature called Sudden Death was used to decide the winner of a match.
My brain just
When a
doesn't like
tie
when it's
occurred,
doing
a
the
coin
same
toss
thing
was
too
used to
much.
determine what would happen next. The toss would make one team the attackers and the other team the defenders. Then, a sub 2-minute overtime round would be played. If the attackers managed to capture the first objective on the map, they would win. Otherwise, the defenders would win. Depending on the game mode and the map, this could create some seriously imbalanced tiebreakers. For that reason, the system was removed and we got the system we have now.
Drip brew,
I think
welcome,
it's
welcome.
really clear why this had to go. It's just not very fair when so many
Also,
of the maps
you may
are
post the
defender
purple
or
app
attacker
clip if you
favored.
so choose.
Now we
I
need to
got it all
cover one
done
of
on
the
my
biggest
end.
things
Hell
that's
yeah.
missing from Overwatch.
When I get to that day of like posting clips, I'll make sure I do so.
Countries. Whether you love them or hate them, loot boxes are something only Overwatch 1 veterans will remember. Overwatch 1 was a one-time purchase, and for the most part,
Take your
all
time.
of the skins were free. You just had to grind for them. As you played, you would level up, more on that later, and every time you did, you would earn loot boxes. These would give you all of the standard cosmetics in the game and coins, which are the legacy credits we have now. You could buy loot boxes, and my friends and I would buy each other some for birthdays or whatever, but there really wasn't a need to ever spend money on Overwatch after the initial purchase. This is obviously a double-edged sword. While it's awesome to be able to earn everything for free, if the devs aren't making money, they can't afford to make more content. There was a long stretch of time where Overwatch 1 really didn't get anything new. The fact that you can't get everything for free in Overwatch 2 was a big pain point for the player base. It took everyone a little time to adjust, and I'm sure there will be plenty of people in the comments of this video talking about how they missed the loot box system. Because loot boxes were banned in some countries and the loot boxes weren't making Overwatch any money, it's pretty clear why Blizzard decided to switch to the live service model we have now. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe. My dream is to make content full-time, and your support would really help me get there. Then I can make more high-quality videos just like this, start streaming, and do other fun things for this awesome community we're building. I'm trying to reach 10K subs by the end of the month. Thanks for your help in making that happen. Back to the video. We have a leveling system in Overwatch 2, but before it existed, we had another system that I think a lot of the player base misses. Ranging from bronze at level 1 all the way to diamond at level 2901, these were the player portraits that existed in Overwatch 1. As you played, you would level up your account and earn a loot box every time you did. You gained experience anytime you completed any game mode. There was a complicated formula for deciding how much XP you could earn from each game, including things like game mode play, your first win of the day, playing consecutive matches, and grouping with other players. As you gained XP, you would level up and your border would change appearance every 10 levels. Every 100 levels, you would get a star. After 5 stars, your border would reset to the basic border of the next tier, bronze to silver, and remove all of the stars. After 2,901 levels, the border would stop changing, with this being the penultimate border. These borders were awesome. It was really cool watching it level up, and truthfully, I missed them. However, I think I know why they were removed. See, these borders effectively showed everyone the rough amount of time you could put into the game, and people would use this against one another. A gold rank with a gold border, how could you play the game for so long and still be gold? It invited a lot of toxicity, even though it really didn't give you much information. Someone could have a gold border but have played 1,000 hours of mystery heroes. It really doesn't speak to someone's skill in any way. The portraits were account-wide as well. No matter what hero you played, you were leveling up. The borders just didn't tell you anything about the player. I think these issues, combined with the fact that Overwatch 2's design is sleeker all around, explain why they felt the need to remove these. The portrait system was replaced with the player progression system we have now, where you level up badges and earn player icons, player cards, and titles you can show off. This system is a lot more granular, giving you badges for hero-specific stats and specific game modes, but it just doesn't hit the same. I really hope that we get some other kind of player progression soon. Overwatch is a game most people would agree is best played with friends. However, some of us don't have any. Well, in the days of Overwatch 1, that was okay, because the game had your back. On June 26, 2018, yes, the same day the offense and defense roles became the damage role, the looking for group system was introduced. LFG allowed players to essentially create listings where they would describe the type of experience they were after.
This
You could specify
LFG
game
thing
mode,
was one of the
rank ranges,
worst
whether you wanted voice chat or
implemented
not,
things
and
they
many
had
other
ever
options.
done. So
Then
whatever.
other players would join your group through a menu that looked pretty similar to the game browser. I hear people occasionally bring this system up and how they miss it. Truthfully, I don't think it got used that often. Most often, you'd be looking for a group to go into ranked with, and the ranked system of Overwatch 1 heavily punished you when grouping in larger numbers. If you were in a 6-stack, you would pretty much only play 6 stacks, meaning the games were way more competitive. There wasn't anything necessarily wrong with the looking for group system. I think the player base just failed to adopt it. Also, it obviously was a breeding ground for toxicity. I mean, if you wanted to, there was nothing stopping you from jumping from group to group saying heinous stuff. I only had good experiences with the system, but I only used it a few times. I was only fortunate enough to have suckered my friends into an Overwatch addiction. Let me know if you use this system at all in the comments. I'm really curious to know if it was just me who didn't find it all that useful. I think they could bring this system back, and it might see more use considering the lack of rank restrictions, improved matchmaker, and the generally more competitive community we have now. When Overwatch first launched in May of 2016, it was a very different game, a more wacky game. Part of that wackiness was because you could have any number of one hero on a team. So 6 Winstons, 3 Mercies, and 3 Bastions. Certainly a creative play space, but a bit of an unbalanceable one. So on July 19th of 2016, hero limits were introduced, but only for competitive play. It took all the way until November 15th of 2016 for quick play to be limited to just one of each hero. Could you imagine 3 Kirikos and 3 Winstons? I think it's pretty clear why this had to be changed. I'm surprised it took them 4 months to bring it to quick play. If you ever doubt this feature should have stayed in the game, just go play No Limits in arcade for a bit. You'll quickly see how messy and volatile this experience can be. While No Limits is too chaotic to really be a competitive shooter, OpenQ was the way Overwatch was played for a really long time. From November of 2016 all the way to August 13th of 2019, Overwatch was played with no limit to the number of heroes you could have from each role. 4 tanks and 2 DPS, 6 supports, 3 tanks and 3 supports, or the common comp of 4 DPS and 2 supports. This format and the release of Brig eventually led to the infamous GOATS meta that almost killed the game. Adding role queue to Overwatch was another step in refining and simplifying the game. The best comps in Overwatch 1 always had at least 2 tanks, and this system was introduced to make the game a little more consistent. But as Aaron Keller said in his blog post about 6v6, this took a lot of the creativity out of the game. The team is looking to test different formats, and OpenQ is likely to be re-examined in some way, shape, or form. I'm not here to say what the best format for Overwatch is, but the game has evolved a ton since those early Overwatch 1 days. I think it'd be cool to see what a more refined version of OpenQ could look like in Overwatch 2. Our next feature was never really added to begin with, but I know people would be asking about it if I didn't include it. Truthfully, I don't even want to talk about it, so I'd like to just get it out of the way. Overwatch 1 was left to die so that Overwatch 2 could be created, but not the Overwatch 2 we have now. No, the grand vision Overwatch 2. The Overwatch 2 that would redefine the sequel. The PvE version of Overwatch 2 that was inevitably scrapped. Touted as a highly replayable, story-driven experience, Overwatch 2 PvE failed due to poor management. We got the story missions that are in the game now, but they're a hollow shell of what was promised. It really hurt the game's reputation, but I would like to think that most people have moved past it. On the bright side, the devs have focused on what makes Overwatch Overwatch, the PvP, and it's better than it ever has been. Balance or format issues aside, we are constantly getting new content, new heroes, new maps, and the game is constantly being improved. It's the healthiest it's ever been, and I love it. With the transition from Overwatch 1 to 2, the game was simplified in many ways. One of the things that was simplified is something I feel like a lot of the player base forgets exists at all. When the offense-defense roles were collapsed into the damage role and the LFG system was introduced, another system was added to the game, the endorsement system. However, it used to be a tad more complex. As it exists now, the endorsement system is a simple click and endorse. But in Overwatch 1, you actually had a choice as to how you would endorse a player. When you would endorse someone, you could choose between 3 options. Orange for shot calling, purple for good teammate, and green for sportsmanship. You still had the 1 to 5 levels of the current system, but around the border of the icon would be a colored ring that was broken up into sections by the percentage of each endorsement you had received. So if you had a mostly orange ring, it would indicate that you were someone who had good calls. Everyone who played this system knows the orange endorsement is the only one that mattered. It felt the best to get a shot caller, and the other 2 mattered a lot less. I have to imagine this is removed just for the sake of simplicity, but I think they could bring this system back no problem. It didn't inspire toxicity like a lot of the other features on this list. However, people would beg for the shot caller endorsement, so that's something to think about. Oh boy, here we go. Look, it was a feature, and it would be wrong to not include it on this list. It's probably the biggest, or at least the most talked about change. When Overwatch 1 became Overwatch 2, we lost the tank player, moving from 6v6 to 5v5. I'm not gonna pick a side. I love Overwatch and I want it to do well regardless of the format. I've had a ton of fun playing both 5v5 and 6v6. Each have their benefits and their trade-offs. There's no denying the fact that 6v6 offers a deeper gameplay experience, but there's also no denying the fact that 5v5 largely solves the queue time issues 6v6 faced. The conversation is obviously more deep than that, and both formats have their merits. However, I think those are the biggest arguments for each format. Again, I'm not here to take sides. I'm just here to give you the facts, explain why these features were removed, and to question whether they would be good for the game if they returned. 6v6 had a real issue with queue times because there weren't enough tank players. The game was abandoned at the time, but even now there's a big disparity between the number of DPS and support players versus the number of tank players. You can say that's because tank is unfun, so no one wants to play it, but tank is an unpopular role in any game. I could be here forever going back and forth about these arguments, so let's move on. Could 6v6 be brought back? Well, it already is, or at least the devs are going to try it. They've made it very clear that they're willing to try all sorts of format changes from 7v7 to some kind of hybrid open queue sort of thing. They're going to experiment and let us try those experiments. It'll definitely be interesting to see how those things shake out, and we'll just have to wait and see. And then we can know not only if 6v6 is the best way to play the game, but also if it's what most of the community wants. Overwatch has extensive career profiles. It'll show you things like time played on each hero, your win rate, your accuracy on heroes, pretty much everything you could ask for. It gives a pretty detailed history of your time in game. Even though the information from Overwatch 1 was wiped, it's still a cool system. However, in the same patch that endorsements were added, the career profile was changed forever. Before this patch, career profiles were public with no way to private them. This meant that anytime someone wanted to, they could look at your entire history in the game. Was this used so you could better play around your teammates' best picks, you could better accommodate a one-trick, formulate the perfect comp based on your team's best heroes? Of course not. It was used to flame people, and they would find all sorts of ways to do it. Not enough time on a hero? Flamed. Too much time on a hero? Flamed. Not on your most played hero? Flamed. Only playing one hero? Flamed. 5 seasons in gold? Flamed. Made it to diamond but fell a rank? Flamed. Played comp but most of your time is in quick play? Flamed. All your time is in comp but you're not a grandmaster? Flamed. It wasn't a tool, it was a weapon, and players beat each other over the head with it all the time. So, in the June 2018 patch, all career profiles were set to private by default. This carried over to Overwatch 2. You can make your profile public if you want to, but you have to choose to do that. You can also make it public to just the people you were grouped with or just your friends. To be clear, I'm not saying career profiles are never used in a constructive way. There is certainly an advantage to knowing what your teammates' best heroes are and being able to get a general idea of what caliber of player they are. But 95% of the time, a public career profile is just inviting someone to say something about your skill or the way you've chosen to play Overwatch. Also, there's questions to be raised about competitive integrity and being able to spy on the enemy's career profiles. If the enemy has a one-trick with a public profile, you can counter them before the game even starts. While most of the things I've mentioned in this video have been from Overwatch 1, our next deleted feature was actually in Overwatch 2. At the start of Overwatch 2, the devs were worried that the game was starting to get overwhelming for new players. Looking to make the game a little easier to get into and increase the freshness of each season, the devs introduced the map pool system. The hope was that this would give each season a unique identity and feel. They also wanted to be able to work on maps, bringing the updated maps back when it was time for a new rotation. It was pretty much a complete failure all around, and in Season 4, map pools were removed. Aaron actually wrote a great explanation about why the system had to go. He stated, "The map roster doesn't have enough maps where we truly need them, and the impact they had on seasonal identity was fairly low. Additionally, the cadence for maps leaving and returning to the pool didn't align with the time it took to make changes to the maps." He did also say that map pools may not be gone for good though. The system might make a return when Overwatch has more maps, but they would likely rotate at a faster rate, potentially weekly. The community pretty much hated this system. Overwatch doesn't have enough maps, and some game modes especially don't have enough to be taking some out of the pool. Maybe once we have 60 maps or something, this would be necessary, but I think everyone would rather have a map voting system before we try map pools again.
I'm gonna use the restroom.
Pretty much
I'll
every
review
aspect
right
of Overwatch 1's UI was revamped in the move to OW2. While it may be a stretch to call this a feature, I feel like I had to include this. Everyone is familiar with the current rank icons, but I think the old ones definitely look better, and a ton of people agree with me. It might just be the black outline. I feel like the progression of the first set just makes more sense. I feel like each rank builds on one another, and then there's this realistic quality to the old ones. Each one looks like it was made of the material it was named after. Then when you got to Masters and up, the refraction and stuff in the middle just looks cooler. There's something sterile about the new ones. They're just too streamlined. It's not a huge loss or anything, but I think the OWOGs will always love the old icons more. Let me know which set you prefer. I'm really curious to see if this is just nostalgia talking. The PvE and its cancellation was previously discussed, but we lost something else related to the topic. Something a ton of people have asked to come back. The pre-PvE content. The Archives missions. These were pretty cool for what they were. Nothing amazing, but it was just another thing you could do in the game. The new Sombra Halloween event was quite a bit more interactive in comparison, but these Archives events were still special. There were 3 of them: Uprising, Storm Rising, and Retribution. Each of them is centered around an event from Overwatch's story. The gameplay wasn't anything crazy: kill enemies, a few different types of enemies, go here, go there, but the experience as a whole was certainly special. It was really cool to see Overwatch's story in-game and to get to experience it firsthand as the heroes. While the gameplay was simple, it was something really amazing for Overwatch to have at the time, and I think a ton of people miss it. I'm not sure why these haven't been brought back. Maybe there's some technical difficulties that popped up during the move from 1 to 2, or maybe the devs just want to move away from that type of content in general. They might not want to dilute the Overwatch product, and they're trying to make it clear that, hey, Overwatch is a competitive PvP shooter. Maybe we'll get them back or something similar in the future, who knows. During the dark times of Overwatch 1, new content was non-existent. The player base was dwindling, and queue times were reaching ridiculous numbers. Tank is an unpopular role in any game, and because Rollock was introduced, every team needed 2 tanks. Overwatch has always had way more DPS players than tank players, so to try and incentivize players to play the least played role at any given moment, which was usually but not always tank, the priority pass system was introduced. The way it worked was pretty simple. If you flexed, you would get some passes. Then you could use those passes to get put in a priority queue for the role with the longest queue time, which was pretty much always DPS. Priority passes were really about trying to equalize the population's queuing for games. This had a number of issues though. For one, it didn't work well to begin with. The passes were too easy to get, and if you played the game, you pretty much always had some. And then there's the psychological factor involved in playing a role you don't really care about so you can play the one you want to play. For the DPS player flexing to tank to get some passes, there was nothing stopping them from running it down just to get the pass. It didn't solve queue times, and this was one of the biggest reasons for the move to 5v5. Queue times are still a problem in Overwatch 2, and we still have a disproportionate amount of DPS players and not enough tank players. The priority pass didn't solve this problem, and the system was a failure. The passes quickly became mandatory to play DPS. You can't force players to play a role they don't want to play, so they can play the one they do want to play and expect it to turn out well. Because cutting the tank role in half cut queue times by a similar margin, there was no need to keep this system in the game, and it didn't work. Imagine if the heroes you could play in a game of Overwatch were chosen by a cat. It sounds ridiculous, and it was. Overwatch is a game that once the meta is figured out can begin to feel very samey fast. To address the stagnating metas Overwatch 1 suffered from, and to keep matchups exciting and fresh, their words, not mine, hero pools were introduced in March of 2020, Season 21. For the most part, these were random bans that affected competitive play and the Overwatch League. A tank, 2 DPS, and a support were banned for a week at a time, with no one hero being banned for more than 2 weeks straight. The community hated this feature. It sucked. No one wants to not be able to play their favorite hero for 2 weeks. There are plenty of ways to shake up the meta without outright disabling random heroes for a week at a time. Oh yeah, the cat thing. The bans were random, so it's not like this really mattered, but it's just absurd to think about. Especially when you think about the fact that professional players also had to deal with these bans with their careers and real money on the line. 1 week of the bans were chosen by Zoe Schwins and Owl host and commentator's cat, Nori the Wizard. They laid out tickets for each role, and whichever ticket the cat touched first were the heroes that got banned. It's just ridiculous. Insane even. I would be interested in trying a ban system in Overwatch, but this is just the worst possible implementation of that. No one is sad that this is gone, and it should never come back. After every match of Overwatch 1, up to 4 panels would highlight the best performing players in a match. The cards would display the player, a hero they played during the match, and a statistic from the scoreboard that they did the best in, or 2 other special categories. MVP, which you could receive for being on fire for a large percentage of the match, and gold medals earned if you had 4 or 5 gold medals. So you might have a card for the most damage blocked, the highest elims, most healing, and MVP. Cards would match the team color of the player, blue for an ally and red for enemy. Here's the part that made this system so awesome. You could vote for these cards, regardless of team, and even your own card. Each player would get 1 vote, and if one card received 5 votes, the announcer would shout epic, and if one card received 10 votes, she would shout legendary. A legendary card was pretty rare, but man, did it feel awesome. Not only did you get a card, but almost everyone in the lobby basically agreed that you had the most impact on that game. Right now in Overwatch 2, once a match is over, you get kicked out of the lobby. But because everyone needed time to vote on the cards, it created this post-match area that you could continue to talk with other players in the match. But because everyone needed time to vote on the cards, it created this post-match area where you could continue to talk to other players in the match. I remember both celebrating wins, arguing losses, and furiously typing at enemies during this screen. Overwatch 2 is certainly a less social game, and the devs have said that they want to try and fix that. The card system was something that enhanced the social aspect of the game, and I think 99% of players miss it. However, I do think the devs had reasonable reasons for removing it. It was often a place where toxicity could happen, but I think the main reason was because it increased the time between matches. It extended every game of Overwatch by another 30 seconds or so, and gave you more time to bow out instead of queue up. Overwatch has added 2 new game modes with a third on the way. But in the move from Overwatch 1 to 2, we actually lost a game mode. Assault, more commonly referred to as 2CP, was a game mode where one team would have to defend 2 points and another team would attack them. If the attacking team was able to capture the first point, point B would open up. The defenders have the same spawn throughout the match, just behind point B, and the attacker's spawn would shift after capturing point A, so they didn't have to walk so far to get to point B. After each round, the teams would switch sides. The attackers would defend, and the defenders would attack. The 2CP bumps were centered around chokes, and it could often feel impossible to break through the enemy team's defenses. But if you did break through, you could often carry your ult advantage into an immediate win on the second point. The games could also go on forever, with scores of 6 to 8 points for each team, 3 to 4 rounds not being uncommon. The defenders could also stall the game out forever. With their spawn so close to point B, they could throw bodies onto it over and over until they got an ult to turn the fight. One pick from the defenders could often weaken the attack enough that they would lose an otherwise winning play due to these stalls. If you didn't snowball, attacking was difficult, and if you didn't hold well, defending was rough. It really felt like it was all or nothing a lot of the time. With all that said, 2CP was probably Overwatch at its purest. It required the most skill, map knowledge, the most coordination, and demanded the highest level of execution. The average player just wasn't able to meet that demand a lot of the time. Ask any Overwatch 1 player and they can tell you horror stories about never making it past the choke on Hanamura. Speaking of Hanamura, 2CP had some of the most fun and iconic Overwatch maps. I miss Volskaya to this day. 2CP was just too volatile and difficult to be in the game, at least in Overwatch 1. Maybe 2CP could be brought back, but Clash is the way the devs plan to bring these maps back in some way, without bringing the game mode back as it once was. We'll just have to wait and see how that shapes up, but I'm looking forward to it. Overwatch is now a free-to-play game, but free-to-play games kinda suck. The overpriced skins, scummy shops, the currencies, toxicity, cheaters, but for some reason, we play them anyway. Why is that? If you want to know, check out this video here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in-game.
Match is against
What's going on, guys? This will be talking about how to get the little Caesar codes in Call of Duty Black Ops 7, all the different rewards.
When it comes to the redoing of a video game, I'd like to think there's 4 main categories. We got the remake, which is essentially from the ground up, a game being remade using the source game as its inspirational material to recreate the experiences from the first game, but with better tech. There's the remaster, where underneath everything, it's the same game as before, but everything looks nicer, and maybe some mechanics are tightened up, but it's still essentially the same game. And then there's the re-release, where a game that previously was released is pretty much in mostly the same form, just like re-released. Sometimes there's like some small things, like it's an HD now rather than standard definition, or other times it includes the DLC, but it's still the same game. And then there's the straight-on reboot, which is where they take the name of the original game and maybe some elements, gameplay or story elements from the original, and they do something completely new to kind of start the series off fresh. And over the years and continuously into the future, it seems like these 4 categories of redoings of games are used a lot, and sometimes they're stupider than other times. One of my least favorite examples of this is Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, released in 2011 for the Xbox 360. Now, Halo 2 Anniversary, actually not bad. Amazing cutscenes that are pre-rendered, graphical enhancements that are very clearly derived from the original, but, you know, brought into what was then a modern-day standard of 2014, which still looks really great by 2025 standards. A toggle to go back to the old graphics instantly, but you still have the better performance with the higher frame rate. The original Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary from 2011, though, wasn't that at all. A lot of people don't actually remember how bad of a remaster this game was, especially because most people have experienced this game through the Master Chief Collection, which made some refinements to make it a bit better, but originally on the 360, it really wasn't that good. This was 343 Industries' first official game project, but they actually didn't develop much of the game. They brought in third-party studios to do all the heavy lifting, and I'll be honest, just Combat Evolved Anniversary doesn't do any justice to the original art and design from the first Halo game. Like, that game was iconic for 2001, and just how it built this new ring world experience, the atmosphere, so many things about it were so visually pleasing, and it seemed like when it came to Combat Evolved Anniversary, they were just trying to like make a game that looked quote-unquote more modern, but they kind of ignored a lot of the main core visuals that had made the first Combat Evolved so atmospheric. Like, let's talk about the second level, Halo, which was like a big deal back in the day. I loved this aesthetic design for how this level looked, because you definitely feel like you're off Earth. You see this giant ring in the skybox that wraps around, and it's so vivid and clear. And the time of day is interesting because you see stars like it's nighttime, but it's still lit because you're not, you know, on Earth. You're in this different place. So the rules of how the sunlight would reach the surface would be different. And this whole, like, simple skybox design philosophy was just thrown out completely in Combat Evolved Anniversary. And that's just like one example. There's so many examples of things just being weird. Like on Pillar of Autumn, why are there all these, like, what are these? Yellow hydraulic things? Like, why are they there? What purpose do they serve? I don't know. I really like the old tuba trails better than the new tuba trails. Like, look at the snow. Guilty Spark completely changes the atmosphere altogether. It's this, like, well-lit area, which was made intentionally, I guess, to make it easier to not get lost, but it kind of killed a lot of the vibe of this old, like, swampy, mysterious jungle that you're trying to walk through. The library had some changes too. These ones weren't as bad to kind of like make it a little bit easier to navigate, so they're maybe onto something here. There'd also be times where like sometimes the geometry and the textures in the remaster didn't line up with the original geometry, so you'd be like hitting walls that you couldn't even see when you were trying to shoot at an enemy. There was definitely a lot of criticism with Combat Evolved Anniversary because of the fact that a lot of the game was reusing Halo Reach assets, which kind of made the game feel a little grungier and not as like colorful as the original. The whole graphics changing with the back button wasn't instant originally. You had to wait for it to like fade to black, then fade back in to have the graphics update. And then one of the biggest things about Combat Evolved back in the day that was so popular was the multiplayer. Like LAN parties were so big on Xbox because people would take their Halos over to their friend's house and just, like,
call for
play
Nicholas.
that out,
Yes,
and
speaking.
had no multiplayer. They just made a DLC pack for Halo Reach and called it a day, and
regarding
that
your
was that. It was
disability
lazy.
claim.
Honestly,
ma'am.
they could have just done a
I
re-release
just
of the
need to
game
talk to you
and
for a
maybe
couple
done like the whole
minutes
like
so we can
HD,
start
maybe higher frame rate, and
working on your
they could even go as
case,
far as adding online to the game for the first time, which they would eventually do with MCC. But for the original release, this wasn't
you
it.
did
Okay, there's more games we have to talk about in just a second, but we got a sponsor, so let's pay some bills. Have you ever
would
wished you
like
could
to
block
use
annoying
some
ads
stuff
and
not
get
supposed to
paid
be
for
found
browsing? With
electronically.
Pi,
You
that's
just have to get a
Pi.org,
verbal
you can.
authorization
Pi
for
is a
you on
browser
that.
extension that
Yes,
lets you
ma'am.
block ads and earn money in different ways. Fair
So
ads,
the
you get
SSA,
paid
do
just
you
by
understand
seeing
the
certain
SSA
ads. Instant
827 will
rewards,
be
where
used
you
to
click on
request your medical
limited
records and all
Pi
information
approved
related
ads
to
and
your
earn
ability to
instantly.
perform
Here's how it
tests.
works.
If
Install
you agree
Pi,
to
visit your
authorize
favorite
disclosure
sites,
of your
Forbes,
information, this
ESPN, or
section
Amazon, and watch ads, boom, disappear, real time. Just hover over the Pi logo to see how many ads have been blocked and how much visual space you've saved. Trust me, once you see the difference, you'll never go back. But with 1 million users and thousands of 5-star reviews, Pi is changing the browsing game. So whether you're shopping, catching up on news, or searching Google, you're earning rewards while you do it. The best part, it's super easy to cash out once you hit 1,000 points. So it's kind of cool to get paid just for browsing, supporting brands you actually like. So what are you waiting for? Head to pi.org/rocketsloth, click add to Chrome, and pin the extension. Join millions already using Pi and start earning today. Now, when doing research on this video, I was surprised to actually find that a lot of people were kind of disappointed with Resident Evil 3, a game that I thought was actually deemed as a really great remake. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not the most familiar with the Resident Evil series. I've only played parts of a handful of games. Luke, on the other hand, has a lot more experience with the Resident Evil series. But, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, but I think the general consensus when it came to Resident Evil 3 was that it is a good Resident Evil game on its own, that's for sure, but as far as a remake of the original Resident Evil 3, it left a lot of key aspects of the game that gave it its unique charm out and kind of streamlined a lot of the gameplay. Of course, this is coming off of the heels of Resident Evil 2's remake, which was kind of universally acclaimed, where some people thought that was one of the best remakes of a game ever made. It seems like there was actually quite a bit of cut content coming from the original Resident Evil 3 that didn't make its way into the remake, and the whole idea of the Nemesis kind of being this threat that would just loom and pop out of nowhere, which made it these like super spooky moments. Instead, it was kind of more of a scripted sequence, and there was just a lot in overall pacing that seemed to have been altered from the original game. Now, of course, some people could argue that the original game was kind of clunky in the way that it paced things out, and there were some parts that really did need to kind of be reworked to fit into a modern standard. But perhaps Resident Evil 3 kind of strayed very far away from the original Resident Evil 3, and I think that that is why fans of the original Resident Evil 3 were disappointed. Not to say that Resident Evil 3's remake is a bad game, because in its own right, it is a good game. It is a retelling, more or less, of the story of Resident Evil 3, but in a completely different experience, unlike previous Resident Evil games that tried to be a more true definition of a remake, like what we saw with Resident Evil 2, or even Resident Evil 1's older remake, which did look significantly better than the original Resident Evil, but at the same time, in comparison, Resident Evil 1's remake to Resident Evil 2's remake does look pretty dramatically different because of the amount of time that's passed between the games. So yeah, I think Resident Evil 3 kind of just is a unique entry on this list, and not too many games do the remake route where they are so drastically unfaithful to the original game that some people are upset, but at the end of the day, the game itself is still a really good game. So yeah, Resident Evil 3 just somehow managed to claim that title here. Now, in videos like this, I want to do a better job at kind of explaining where our actual experiences with the games lie before we start talking about like the general consensus and the general understanding. Sometimes in the past on this channel, I feel like we do a really good job at like recapping objectively the various like voices of the gaming community, but some people feel like we're jaded or angling it in a very specific way, and that's not what we want to do. We're just having a good chat about games, and I just want to talk about The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D without people immediately getting angry about this game making it onto this list. Now, I am a pretty big Legend of Zelda fan. I've played most of the mainline Legend of Zelda games. I've at least dabbled in all of the 3D games with one exception, The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, which I know is wild because so many people love The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. It is like their favorite. It has its own cult following surrounding it. I don't know where, as a kid, I got this deep-rooted anxiety from about timed sections in video games that would just stress me out, and I think I still subtly have it to this day, where I'm like, man, if I am on a time limit, I just crack under the pressure. I just don't like it in games. I think that's why I could never get past the first level of Metroid Prime when I was a kid on the GameCube. But knowing how popular The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask is, when they announced that they were remaking it for the 3DS, I was intrigued at the very least, because I loved Ocarina of Time, and I had played Ocarina of Time 3D on the 3DS, but Majora's Mask kind of seemed like, you know, a slam dunk to finally get to experience the game. However, when the game was released, since I wasn't like, you know, super nostalgic necessarily for Majora's Mask, I saw some reviews of people kind of debating across the board how the game was. And this is where it gets very interesting, because I never ended up actually getting around to playing Majora's Mask. I probably should. I know I should. But it opened up a very, very large discussion about remaking games in general, because Majora's Mask 3D had a lot of creative liberties added to the game that largely changed up the gameplay from the original. Now, I just want to be crystal clear here. Majora's Mask 3D is generally still looked at as a very good game. If you look at its like Metacritic score, it's still very high in the high 80s. And I think majority of the casual player base absolutely love Majora's Mask 3D, probably almost as much as the original still has its charm. But when it comes to the people who really, really love Majora's Mask, like it's their favorite game, the remake changed too much, especially in like communities I think where like speedrunning was big, and I think that that ultimately resulted in this game still being discussed as one of the lesser good remakes of all time, just because of the fact that a lot of things were altered. Like a casual fan who liked Majora's Mask and played it back in the day might not notice things like some of the characters that you can play as, or like the, you know, like masks where you turn into the type of character. The movement that was like kind of a meta in the game was kind of changed or altered, making it not as good or fluid as some of the tricks you'd be able to do originally. Some of the dungeons were altered, some of the boss fights were changed, making them much easier, and ultimately it seemed like a lot of the changes that were made just was too much of a shift from the package deal that the original Majora's Mask was. And that's before even going into the debate that a lot of Majora's Mask die-hard fans bring up about the change in art style and the difference in color saturation, the newer models, the way the characters look, some feeling like the change in art kind of diminishes the eeriness, mood, and anxiety that the original Majora's Mask had, which made the game special. It is interesting seeing kind of the big differences between Majora's Mask remake versus Ocarina of Time's remake, because generally speaking, Ocarina of Time more or less does have better fan support than Majora's Mask, and it seemed like with the Ocarina of Time thing, while there are still changes, obviously, some considerations were made in keeping some of the gameplay features more faithful to the original. Like even some things that were technically glitches, they kind of reprogrammed into the game because it was such a popular way of playing the game that they didn't want to like remove it altogether. Majora's Mask seemed like they maybe took things a little bit too far with its creative liberties. Because of that, a portion of the community didn't like the remake. So at the same time, I'm not trying to bash Majora's Mask, but I am trying to point out that sometimes a game that a casual audience might see as a good remake that, you know, has good reviews on like IGN and stuff, still has like a community of people who have justified reasons for not liking what the newer version was. Fortunately, the Majora's Mask community is still pretty active. There's a lot of fan overhaul mods for Majora's Mask now that the whole N64 source code compilation project thing, I don't really know how it exactly works, but people have reverse engineered a way to play Nintendo 64 games natively on PC, and that's pretty cool. It means that the door will open in the future for fan mods and more things to actually see, you know, a more faithful remake of Majora's Mask, hopefully one day, you know, get released unless Nintendo shuts it down. So when it comes to game re-releases, historically speaking, there is like this category of re-releases where it's like a game coming to a different console for the first time, and usually it's just a re-release. I mean, nothing to write home about, but every once in a while, one of these re-releases is like just a wild experience. And I think Dead Rising Chop Till You Drop is like the perfect example of this. Now, back in the day, there was a console called the Nintendo Wii, and this console wasn't as powerful as the Xbox 360. So they decided to take Dead Rising and make a watered-down version of the game that could work on the Nintendo Wii. So interestingly enough, Capcom already had released Resident Evil 4 on the Nintendo Wii, and they just took the team that had already built this engine and started working on that Dead Rising game. And this port or re-release of the original Dead Rising game, this isn't a spin-off like you would think it would be with the name Chop Till You Drop. It is the main game, but just not as good. And a couple of years late, they had to trim down on some of the features. There was a photography system in the game that ended up getting cut. The mall itself is significantly smaller. Frank, the character you play as, can't jump in the Wii version.
Wait, is that because you can't jump in Resident Evil 4?
That's what I'm getting to, because the weapons in the game, and there's a lot of firearms, are all weapons from Resident Evil 4. You'll just see guns that were straight up in Resident Evil 4. And actually, the original guns that were in Dead Rising were not in the game. They replaced them with the Resident Evil 4 guns. There were some things exclusive to the Wii version that the other version couldn't do. So, I mean, you have your pros and cons. Like on the Wii version, you could change the color of the blood. Awesome. And if you complete the main story, you got access to some mini-games. Like, why not? So, this game released, and I'm sure some people had fun with it. I've heard that Dead Rising Chop Till You Drop, despite the name, feels like the most shooter-focused version of the game, and that the shooting mechanics aren't the worst. But the game definitely got like mixed reviews and feedback. This was, you know, just the era of we not getting maybe the best versions of games when they were released across consoles. I mean, you could make the same argument for games like Call of Duty Black Ops, right? They had Black Ops on the Xbox 360 and PS3 and PC, and then the Wii version. And it functioned, but yeah, I mean, this was a commonplace thing. We don't need to talk about every example of a game that would get like a Wii version just like thrown out there. I thought Dead Rising was a good one, though.
Personally, I do remember there was like a really bad Far Cry 1 port for the Wii as well. Just kind of pretty bad.
There was a Far Cry 1 port?
Yeah, I think it's called like Far Cry Missions or something like that.
I never knew about that.
I remember playing that over at a friend's house, and it was pretty bad as well.
Originally, back in the day, there was a game called Far Cry Instinct, but then there was Far Cry Instinct Evolution for the Xbox, and that was like a sequel to Far Cry Instinct, and then there was a Wii remake of that in 2006, which is just a lot going on, and that also, from what I'm reading here, got negative reviews. Overly compressed FMVs was one of the big complaints. Is that like rendered cutscenes? Like pre-rendered cutscenes?
I guess so, yeah. I wonder what they look like.
Hold on. Let's pull it up. This is insane. This looks like worse than Nintendo DS graphics, I feel like. What is this? Oh, it's a statue. I thought it was a person. Look at 11 minutes and 50 seconds.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
I thought that was a person.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell the difference. I was like, what is this character design? Well, there's another example then.
So in 2012, Konami decided to remaster Silent Hill 2 and 3 and call it the Silent Hill HD Collection. Now, these games were obviously supposed to have updated graphics and would work on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, where the original games were for previous generations. Now, what was funny about this is that Konami lost the original source code to the finished versions of Silent Hill 2 and 3. So, the studio they hired, Hygiene Studios, was provided like some early development builds, and they kind of had to figure it out from there, which obviously meant that the final product was gonna be different than the original Silent Hill 2 and 3 releases. Now, this included unfinished visuals, audio, and like even the gameplay was different in many scenarios. But the most jarring thing is actually looking at the difference in atmosphere. They apparently didn't have the code for the fog render engine or whatever from the original games, so they kind of had to come up with this solution, and it shows. Obviously, you can tell that the atmosphere is way different in the HD collection than it was originally, like way less spooky, kind of like takes away from the whole game. Users obviously rated this collection super low, and most critics didn't even rate it that high. There were some outlets that only gave it like a 3 out of 10, but IGN, they gave it a 9 out of 10. Obviously, they couldn't lose the Konami contact by rating this game poorly, I guess, at the time. What was interesting as well is that the collection included like new dialogue, so they hired some new voice actors to redo all the dialogue, but you could still play the old version with the old voice lines, and the new voice actors apparently sucked as well. I don't know, there was was just a lot wrong with this, and there wasn't any key members involved. You know, they eventually would respond to this, to all this backlash, and say they're gonna fix the game, and they did fix the game a little bit. They never got the full scope of what Silent Hill 2 and 3 were originally. Then obviously we got the Silent Hill 2 remake like recently, and that one is really good. And they actually hired some original development team members to make it, so I guess they kind of made up for it. But I don't know, this was just like a weird release.
One of my favorite games on the Nintendo 64 is kind of a wild premise, but it was called Road Rash 64. Not too many people probably remember this game, but if you played the game back in the day, you know that this game was incredible. It was a part of a bigger series, but the basic premise is you drive a motorcycle in a race, but you have weapons, and you can just hit people, other racers, with the weapons as you're racing. Like on the Nintendo 64 with like those graphics back in the day, it was like an incredible concept. I don't know, every once in a while I still will play this game, and it's always been a pretty good time. Now this series actually hasn't been around in quite some time. The last Road Rash game was called Road Rash Jailbreak, and that was released on the PlayStation 1 in 2000. So like, fans of Road Rash have been like, hey, when's the next Road Rash game coming out? Why aren't there games like Road Rash in existence? And after like nothing coming from the franchise for a long time, I guess EA, who developed the original ones and published them, didn't want to make more. Finally, fans were like, you know what, let's take matters into our own hands. And this is where we talk about the category of reboots known as spiritual reboots. And sometimes they're not very good. Very similarly, trying to play directly onto the popularity of what Road Rash was back in the day was a game that's available on Steam called Road Rage. And it's the same exact concept. It literally looks like the modern day Road Rash 64 that fans wanted. Except this game isn't good. It's messy, the physics are all over the place. There was barely any actual effort, I think, put into this. They just knew that there was a niche and people probably wanted a game like Road Rash 64. Fortunately enough, there was another person who thought, hey, let's bring this series back in a spiritual successor. You know, obviously we don't have the rights to name Road Rash, but like, what can we do? And that brought up the game Road Redemption, which was like cooking for a while, but it officially was available on Steam in 2019, 2 years after Road Rage. I haven't tried Road Redemption yet. I only found out about it when I was looking up stuff about Road Rage because I had known about that game, and I knew to avoid it because the Steam reviews were rough. And Road Redemption actually does look promising. It has a lot of positive reviews on Steam, so I think I need to give it a try probably. But yeah, interesting how two games, both trying to be a spiritual successor, had drastically different outcomes. And also, while I was looking into this, the studio that did Road Redemption, the good one, announced their next game, which is called Kingmakers, and they have like a GIF on the Steam store showing off the gameplay of their new game. And it just looks like a wild concept. It's like medieval, maybe like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 era, except like the player has an AK-47 and is at war. You see that?
Yeah, that looks litty, dude. When's that coming out?
I don't know. Okay, Kingmakers is the name of that game.
Yeah, I want to play that, dude. There's like a wet dream, dude. You get a time machine, and you go back to the medieval times with your AK, and you just like become like a wizard.
Wait, it's planned to release Q1 2025? That's like right now, almost right now, right? We have like, doesn't Q1 start like in March?
You know, if we had an accountant for Rocket Stuff, I bet we would know because we'd have a meeting with him.
We would know how the queues work. This is insane. I hope it's good. Online co-op. They are cooking.
Wait, did you see the motorbike?
They brought the motorbike?
You can ride around the motorbike and just shoot.
They're building off of Road Redemption, I guess, also. Maybe they're in the same universe. We'll go rapid fire through a few that we don't want to spend a lot of time on, but we can talk about. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. We've talked about this one in a few
Ashara
videos, I feel like.
G10K,
It was
welcome,
not a
welcome.
polished remake. It was just a copy and paste of the original code, cheaty assets thrown in there. A lot of content that was in Pokemon Platinum was just ignored altogether in the remake for the Switch. There was like bugs in the game. There were people discovering glitches in the old-fashioned original game that were only discovered or uncovered by people playing the new game because it literally was a copy and paste of the code. It was an art. It was just not the best, most polished thing. A casual fan probably would enjoy Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I liked it, but it was a downgrade from Platinum, which is the weird thing.
Right, I mean, it was fine, but like honestly, from Pokemon remakes, we're like used to better.
Right, the standard was higher. Also, I think there is like a fan mod that Nintendo has shut down yet, where they restored some of the Platinum content. Supposedly pretty cool. Also, the subject of Pokemon, the Let's Go games, Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu, those are obviously remakes of, I guess, Pokemon Yellow from back in the day. I don't know, I just really did not like these games. I didn't like the whole way that they merged Pokemon Go into it just because of the popularity of it.
moves were also really good.
Yeah, no, Fire Red Leaf Green, awesome. Let's go.
Also the Ruby Sapphire and Omega Alpha, or I don't even know what they're called.
Omega Ruby Sapphire Omega Alpha.
Okay, whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Those are okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I like
Yeah, they're good, yeah. So another one that I didn't know about until more recently, someone did a really good video on it. We'll put the video thumbnail on the screen here, name of the channel. But Sonic Adventure is a really polarizing game because, like, it's a good Sonic game, but man, it is buggy. There's a lot of things going on there. And I experienced the game for the first time on the GameCube, as I feel like a lot of people experienced Sonic Adventure. And while it's still a good game, what I never realized was that a lot of the issues that Sonic Adventure has with it being kind of a buggy mess, the controls are kind of all over the place, actually stem from the port to the GameCube, and that the Sega Dreamcast version, the original version where the game launched a couple of years earlier, actually is a pretty polished experience. So a lot of the criticisms that Sonic Adventure would get actually stem from just a bad port, and not necessarily the core game itself. Not to say that Sonic's credibility with not buggy experiences would be high if Sonic Adventure hadn't had a bad port. Yeah, it is interesting to me that the original Dreamcast version is probably the definitive way to play the game, if it was between that or the GameCube version. Or I think there was a really old PC version too. Nobody talks about that version. And then also Sonic Adventure 2, I think the GameCube version of Sonic Adventure 2 was a better port. It seemed more faithful to the original, but there were some weird things taken out, like minor Easter eggs and stuff. For whatever reason, they just removed them, like Big the Cat running in the background. Diddy Kong Racing, another amazing game for the Nintendo 64 that I loved back in the day. They did do a DS version of the game, and the DS version of the game just wasn't all there. It wasn't bad, but it just didn't have that same fullness maybe that the original had. There were some just weird decisions made. It's not like a major point on this list, but I still wanted to at least give it a mention just because I think the original Diddy Kong Racing was better, and the remake came out years later for the DS.
Resource deliveries, what
Not
more?
the remake from a couple of years ago, but there was this arcade game released on the Xbox 360 that I actually played quite a bit of, and a lot of people hate this game. They're like, this is one of the worst Tony Hawk games ever. I did kind of enjoy it, but I was well aware back in the day that for some HD game that they're like, we're bringing back these locations and we're doing this. It wasn't a remake of what the original Tony Hawk games were, which is what people thought the experience was. They thought we were getting something more akin to the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 remake that we actually would get years later. And this was just like a little throwaway arcade game. It was fine, but it also wasn't the best Tony Hawk game, but for a discounted arcade game price. I kind of had fun with it, but yeah, they could have done more for sure. Have we just talked about Zombie U?
Your favorite game of all time.
It's just a short
Zombie U is your favorite game of all time.
It's not my favorite game of all time.
Zombie U,
I just thought Zombie U wasn't the worst game ever. That's it. I thought, hey, it's cool. It's a zombie game that's not super fast paced. You have to treat it slow, methodical, like if you're in an episode of The Walking Dead. You know, you don't just have guns like Left 4 Dead and you shoot everything. You have to like hit them with the cricket bat.
yeah, see how much you love it? You're so passionate about it.
It's an okay game. I don't love it. It had flaws, but it was... Zombie is a weird one, because we still don't know if it counts as a reboot. I think Ubisoft's first ever game was called Zombie, which is an I, no E at the end. And there's Zombie U, which came out on the Wii U. And then when they would later port the game to Xbox One and PlayStation 4, they dropped the U and just called it Zombie again. So it's the first time they used the name. Now, we've learned online that during development, it doesn't seem like the game was like internally known as Zombie until the very end. So it could have just been like this marketing thing real quick to try to be like, look, Ubisoft is going to their roots, whatever that means. And they called it Zombie U.
Or maybe it was cheaper.
Maybe they've been renewing the trademark for years, and they were like, oh, let's just go with it. There's a couple of beat-em-ups that are probably worth mentioning here. Turtles in Time Reshelled. People really didn't like that game. They just felt like it strayed too far. I was always more frustrated with the Battletoads remake. Not for probably the reasons that you think I would be, considering some of the games that we talked about here, but Battletoads didn't have online play. It has local co-op, but how are you going to release a game that is co-op, that you're supposed to play with friends and not have online in it? This drives me nuts. Like, it is my biggest pet peeve when games have multiplayer functionality advertised as like a main point of the game, and then they don't let you play online, like because they don't want to program it. It's insane.
I still remember it was a dark night. You, me, and them all downloaded the game. We booted up, just to find out it doesn't have online co-op.
We're like, how do we invite each other? Actually, another similar experience that's not a reboot, but the new Power Ranger game. I was really excited about that. I got my friend to buy the game. Luke, you and I game shares, so you had it also. We go to play it, and there's some weird way that their online works. You can play with up to 6 people at the same time. But there's a limit to only 2 Xboxes. You can do 3 people on one Xbox, or 3 people on the other, or 4 people on one Xbox, and 2 people on the other Xbox. But you can't connect beyond just 2 Xboxes. And that also is just a crazy choice that they made. I'm still upset about that one too. I haven't even played it yet.
I still have the game installed.
We'll have to play it. We'll just have to ditch Tails and play it.
Like he ditched us for Supermarket together.
Dude, don't even get me started.
I have something on my list that I personally was pretty excited for when it announced, and that is the Grand Theft Auto, the trilogy, the definitive edition. And this whole thing was just a straight up fumble, in my opinion. The quality was not on the level you would expect from a GTA game, or a Rockstar game even. You know, Rockstar makes pretty good games. All their releases are pretty fire, as far as I'm concerned. But this one was just like a buggy mess. The textures didn't look right. The character models were like a downgrade. And, you know, I looked into it, which I'd never done before, who actually made this, because Rockstar obviously didn't make this himself. They outsourced it to Grove Street Games, which is the studio responsible for the iOS and Android ports of the GTA games. Like, they ported GTA Chinatown Wars, you know, all these GTA games, and even San Andreas and stuff, to iOS and Android. But they never really made a game. They only just did iOS ports, and then they were tasked with making this big remaster. So I guess they were not very well equipped to do the job. And on top of that, Rockstar removed the original versions from all the storefronts. So if you wanted to play San Andreas Vice City or 3, you had to buy this definitive edition if you didn't own it before. And yeah, it's pretty disappointing. Now obviously they did do some patches and some bug fixes, and nowadays it's not as bad as it was at launch, but it still could be better even nowadays. Then do you remember the Thief game? I think you played it a couple years ago. I remember you streamed it to me.
I think you actually were over at my house.
Oh, it was over at your house? Even better.
I wanted to see what it was like.
Yeah, and what was it like?
It wasn't very good.
It wasn't very good.
Luke tried to warn me about it, saying that it wasn't a good game, but I was like, how bad can it be? Maybe it's like thievery mechanics from Skyrim or something. And it was just kind of a rough game around the edges. I thought it was gonna be like maybe an older version of Dishonored.
The original games were probably closer to Dishonored than this Thief reboot was.
What happens once you hit round 999?
They had like a decent story.
I get a calling card.
Like really highly rated, like a 9 out of 10 game on like Metacritic and stuff. The studio went under in like 2004, so they stopped making games. Like they were closed by Eidos Interactive. And then in 2009,
And as of right now, I'll be the only person
and then decided to reboot the series. And as Elijah
in the
said,
world that has a cursed 999.
good was missing. Like there wasn't any focus on stealth.
But I'll indefinitely have a untied world record.
Surely that's a long, long, long process.
Right, which is
Oh yeah.
criticism that this game was linear.
If you gotta guess right now, I think I might have already asked you this question before, but I just think it's a cool question to think about. Based on just kind of what you know on.
6 hours probably for a full 999 run.
But it kept like game overing you because you weren't doing.
You see the timer above me, right?
Which is pretty insane for a game that's supposed to be.
I think you do.
You know,
I think you just being a head ass. I don't know. I hope.
You're probably better off looking out anything about this. Now, they also changed the art direction, which is also.
Mateo, welcome
That's not just for this run, right?
That's just for this run.
Seen it with other sequels like Halo 4.
That's.
They randomly changed the art direction. I think it never works out.
It only pauses when I close this.
That's brutal.
We're not halfway done.
Could see this game being a direct response to Dishonored. Because Dishonored came out 2 years earlier, or a year and a half earlier, or something like that. 2 years earlier. It wouldn't surprise me if they threw something together. It couldn't have taken them long to make this game. There's no way it took them a long time. Yeah, I don't know. It's just
Round
so
680 is half.
days, like right after the PS4 release. So I think I remember people buying the game just because there was no other game.
And with this strat, it is the fastest you can get it. What's up, Jay? Because I spawn manipulated, but yeah, this might be the first round 999 that is not 100 hours IO for reference. I might have a world's first sub 100 hour.
Sonic Generations is a little bit interesting. This game was remade recently with a Shadow the Hedgehog section of the game
Goated with
added
the
in,
sauce.
where there's a ton of levels.
Very,
for
very,
Shadow
very
Hedgehog's
true.
past. It
Did y'all
probably
peep
could've
my
been
post and my
that
story?
come out around the same time, which introduced Shadow the Hedgehog. And they were
I'll
just
make
like,
sure I
"You know
do
what?
that more
There's Sonic
often.
Generations out there. Let's give it a
Especially with
little
VZ, because he's a goat and he
something
keeps me
with Shadow
updated.
story." Instead of just like making a new game, I feel like it's so hard for Sega to make a good Sonic game. Sonic Generations
W
though,
Smash
isn't
today at 6.
actually
Yes,
good.
sir.
The thing is pretty well received. The weird thing about it is that itself, because they also decided to make minor, insignificant changes that you wouldn't expect. And that
I don't know
you
why that
wouldn't
didn't double blow
notice
up.
unless you're really, really paying attention to things like cutscenes, like just changing out dialogue, trying to like rewrite some of the story of Sonic Generations. I don't know why, but they
No,
would
I
just,
am
like,
gonna
take
miss
these
part
random
of
things
it.
and change
How
it.
long
And
do you think
sometimes
it'll
it
last?
completely change the dynamic of a
Normally
cutscene or
he's
interaction, or it
here
would, like,
for
remove a joke or
at
something. I
least
think it's a good game.
2,
It's
sometimes
cool to
3
me, and
hours.
you can enjoy it. It's probably, if you're a big Sonic fan, worth the price of like $60-$70, whatever it is. But it is weird, like that little thing, the little tweaks they
I'm
make are
hoping
just a little weird.
I'll
The
be
game
able
I
to keep
didn't
him
expect
here.
to be as bad as what it was when I actually looked at it was House of the Dead remake for Nintendo Switch. It's just not up to standards for what a game remake should be. If you watch 5 seconds of gameplay, it literally looks like an iPhone game from 2011 maybe? I don't know, that might be too generous. But I'm really, really surprised that this was the level of detail that they put in and called it good and then released the game. The House of the Dead was an awesome game back in the day for an arcade shooter. I don't know what this is. I'm very disappointed. I just refuse to play this game because of the way that it looks, and it's just upsetting. So I don't know. Let's just go to the next one. Okay, now when it comes to other games that are being rebooted or coming back from a long hiatus, maybe they will learn from the past, or maybe they'll be worse. There are a couple of games that are already announced that I'm a little bit worried about. One of those being Perfect Dark, which I've talked about Perfect Dark before, so we don't need to like dive into it. I'm a huge Perfect Dark fan of the original N64 version. It's like James Bond, but a female character, slightly in the future, and then aliens like halfway through, right? Really cool concept. My biggest issue is just a regular complaint about Microsoft Game Studios, specifically with Halo Infinite. Remember how there was all this backlash and controversy about how the split screen mode with Halo was like not there? Perfect Dark, the original one on the N64, was able to have split screen campaign co-op. One of the first games to do a first-person shooter campaign co-op in that form. Before Halo. Perfect Dark Zero, the game that people don't really consider as good, that released on the Xbox 360 as a launch title, had co-op, campaign, split screen, or online, and it was functional.
Also, didn't the 360 re-release of the first one have online co-op as well?
Yeah, and that's not even, they like took the source code of the game and they ran it through a whole new engine, and it still had co-op, and they added online co-op.
Almost at 1K hours on Smash,
They,
halfway
like,
there.
added more than they even had to do. You know, Battletoads couldn't do that, but they did it.
Bro, I'm still upset about the battle.
Okay, there it
I'm
is.
still mad
Almost
about the
1K hours?
25
Fuck yeah, dude.
But the new Perfect Dark game's already been announced to be a single-player experience. And this is why Halo fans
Oh,
are upset,
boy.
because they're not giving us the basic features that were staples in previous games in favor of whatever they're trying to do in the new game. And I just feel like Perfect Dark is another game that's best played with friends, and finally we're getting something after
Prince Fairness from
development
his
hell,
Kazuya
after
yesterday.
years of nothing.
Real.
They obviously have people who've never experienced Perfect Dark the right way working on it then, because if it doesn't have co-op, then what's the point? I mean, it's just going to be another generic stealth shooter, stealth spy
Wait,
game.
did I
that
just
is in
hear
first
Perfect
person.
Dark?
I mean, there's better
Yeah.
games out there. I'm telling you now, the new Perfect Dark game, I really don't think it's going to be good. It's going to come down to, is this game okay or bad? I don't think it's going to be like like earth-shattering, groundbreaking experience of a game. It's going to be another passable Game Pass.
I thought
day
that
one,
series died. Glad
like
to
we've
see
been
it.
seeing, like games like Avowed, where it's like, yeah, it's fun, it's a good time, it's free on Game Pass. And then, but like it's not the new Skyrim, it's not the next Skyrim, and it's the same thing. It's why Halo Infinite wasn't the next Halo 3, right? It's just they just trim out the things that are incredible and leave you with like something that kind of feels like a cool experience, but not quite.
It's gonna even get worse if they go ahead and do that AI thing they've been talking about, you know?
Yeah, what was it that Microsoft said about AI stuff?
So they have this AI that generates like the game as you play it or something, like a full game, and they said they're gonna start using it to make
Sounds
games or
awful.
something. I don't know. Also, they're gonna train it on their mediocre games. Like they're
Absolutely
gonna
loved
train
it on the
games that people
N64.
already consider underwhelming. So like,
Dude, just wait till we get to play Halo Infinite 2, made by AI based on Halo Infinite 1. Also, did you see the comment someone left on our last video about how we're finally talking about 343 Industries and Halo Infinite not being the best? I was like, where have you been?
this guy's like they finally broke their silence.
Yeah, we got backlash before Halo Infinite came out when we said, man, I'm kind of worried. It doesn't look like there's a lot of content in this game. And people were so mad at us.
Yeah, and hey, look at what happened. You know, there wasn't a lot of content in the game when it came out.
Fable, another one that I think is going to fall right into the same category of mediocre. The game will get above a 5 out of 10, but not above like an 8 out of 10, an 8 or higher. That's just how I feel like with most Microsoft Game Studio games. I think Fable will be like a 7 out of 10 game, 7.5 out of 10 game.
I mean, it's another Microsoft game, you know what I mean? Like, they everything they touch just turns into mediocre.
I love the fact that there were rumors circulating around when the game was in obvious development hell. I mean, it's been years since they announced the game. That the studio that's working on the game is the same studio that did Forza Horizon, right? I always thought that was an interesting choice, but then there were rumors that the game development side was struggling because the studio knows how to make racing games but have never worked on an RPG before. And that makes sense to me. I bet you the world will look beautiful. I don't know how it's going to function as an RPG.
Yeah, or the world will feel like a racetrack, like a big racetrack, you know?
Everybody just plays the horse minigame that has way too much depth to it for some reason. Like, this whole side minigame that's like way deeper than everything else.
They already did that kind of with the Fable Connect game. They had like this horse racing or this whole riding mechanic. It was like pretty weird.
Let's go back, dude.
No, let's not go back. Let's just like go into the future if we get a time machine. Let's go further away from it.
There's a couple of other little ones we don't need to spend too much time on. Marathon is Bungie's new game. That's great because they're not spread thin already with the state of Destiny 2. There's also like some Gooner shit going on possibly behind the scenes during the development of the game. That's a whole arc. The game is already announced to not be anything like the first Marathon games, which was probably closer to Halo. It was like Halo before Halo was a thing. And I don't know.
I'm gonna
It's
grab
be
my
another extraction
cheese.
shooter. Like, but sci-fi and made by Bungie. So I don't know.
It's just like Tarkov is like a niche product that works within its niche setting, and they struggle with their like fans too, right? But all these studios trying to copy it, they just can't reach this level of this like random Russian developer. I don't know what's going on, you know what I mean?
It's almost like a lot of the studios or publishers are scared of missing out on the next thing. Like when Battle Royales blew up, right? Every developer was trying to get on it as quickly as possible. And like, if you weren't there right away, you were missing out. Like Fortnite was super successful because it was like right in there within the first year of like PUBG and H1Z1, the main Battle Royale games. I mean, the Call of Duty stuff, like they were trying to do it, but you know, they did the whole free-to-play thing. They had an uphill battle within their own right, and they were able to do something. But we saw a lot of Battle Royales come and fail. And I think because of
what's
that,
good?
they're like, we need to make sure we capitalize on the
Eating
next
some parm.
thing. And I wonder if they just wrongfully thought that extraction shooters were the next thing. And they were just, a lot of studios were going all in on extraction style stuff. Even Call of Duty.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, DMC was so weak, so watered down of an experience. But what you say, it makes a lot of sense. And I feel like they don't realize that it just makes, like, if they just keep releasing games that hop on the next trend, it just makes, like, it seem like they just pump out games for the sake of pumping out games without, like, any passion or any vision. You know what I mean? So, like, they dilute their whole, like, you know, backlog or, like, their whole, like, release. And then if they make a good game, you know, it probably isn't that well received either, or like it's diluted by like all the resources they have to spend on hopping on the next trend. So it's just like, it's just bad. I don't know. We saw it with Halo, right? Like
AJ Cherry Fizz is coming back.
Like it fell off. Yeah.
The
All
camo.
back in the Halo 4 days. And now I remember when people were like, oh yeah, the Halo Battle Royale. Like 343 could develop a Battle Royale if they tried to.
They took a year to put the co-op that people like modded into the game day one. Like You know what I mean? How is this studio still open?
I never understand how 2001 games, Perfect Dark and Halo, Perfect Dark was 2000, Halo 2001, they had split screen on a Nintendo 64 and an original Xbox. What happened? Call of Duty is interesting because they did capitalize on the Battle Royale. They did the whole DMZ thing to try to capitalize on extraction shooters. But don't forget, the third dark horse of the race of the apocalypse. What is the right term for that? I don't know.
Isn't it 4 horses of the apocalypse?
And then like a dark horse in a race. Maybe I got the two sayings and combined them.
Yeah, I think there's something mixed up here.
They did an Among Us game type in Black Ops Cold War.
It did?
Because Among Us was really popular in like, what, 2020? And they like hired on Activision, I want to say it was Activision Shanghai, or it was a development studio in China to make a full-on Among Us type game mode. Fortnite had it also. I don't know, I always thought that was like a weird use of resources. I definitely think Call of Duty thought that would be the next big thing and they went all in on it. It wasn't, but it was something that existed. But I think we're getting a little off topic now. But I just wanted to bring that up because we're talking about I don't even remember.
Trend chasing.
Trend chasing.
But like honestly, with Call of Duty, it's fine. They're such a massive operation; they can afford it, right? But like, why are all these studios that don't make any good games on a regular basis trying to chase these trends? I just don't understand it.
I guess you're right. Call of Duty has the money to like do random stuff like that because I mean, look how massive they are.
I mean, that's good. They should reinvest into their franchise.
They can fail on the little side quests, and the whole franchise doesn't go under. Halo Infinite sorry, we went back to Halo. With Halo Infinite, they put out a new Halo game like every 6 or 7 years. You know what I mean? It's taken forever. I mean, how many years has it been already? 4 years since Halo Infinite came out?
Yeah, 4 years.
We have to wait years for another Halo game to come out. And when a game does come out, it's missing like core features. It's ridiculous.
Right, and like it's been 4 years. Sorry, I have to say this about Halo Infinite. Dude. This one guy's got to be really happy that we're talking about Halo Infinite and 343 again. But it's been 4 years. They're maybe gonna announce a new Halo in like the next 2 or 3 years, right? Or 1 to 3 years. Like let's see, it's that range, right? And then it's gonna take another 5 years before the game actually comes out because I don't think the studio has enough staff right now to make a game in like the next 2 or 3 years.
I don't know if they know how to make a game.
I mean, besides that, even if they wanted to, they didn't have anyone. They fired everyone.
At the end of the day, too many people forget 343 Industries or Halo Studios, whatever they're called now, is just Microsoft. It is an office at Microsoft. Microsoft, the executives at Microsoft always will have the control, say, and influence on what happens. And they're the ones that greenlight the projects. It's the same thing. I know people think it's a new studio. It's not.
It's just propaganda.
I just think that 343 always was an outsource studio where they would outsource work to contractors, other development studios, and they just have been the managers of Halo. They haven't actually made anything. Or if they do, it's in these confined spaces. Look into the development of Halo 4, look into the development of Halo 5. Halo 4 is easy. The multiplayer, all the maps are made by another studio. It's just the same thing over and over again. It never changes. The mission never changes.
Also, I will never call them Halo Studios, dude. That's the only time that naming is okay. Calling it 343.
Okay, there's a couple of other interesting things we don't need to go as deep into. Apparently, this is in our notes from way back when we first came up with this idea, but there's a Crazy Taxi MMO game coming out. Is that real?
Yeah, I think that is. I mean, let you
Yo.
know much about it, but there's something with Crazy Taxi happening. Reboot, style. Like, yeah.
Okay, Yooka-Replay was announced. Is that out yet? It's
Oh,
a ukulele
no.
remake, which is weird because ukulele came out, what, like 2017, 18?
Yeah, they must have smoked the same pack that like the Last of Us developer was smoking with this re-release. You know, and game just came out, they're already re-releasing it, remastering it. Like this is like a modern game. What are they on?
Just doing. It is weird that they don't just do an update to bring the game up to standards, but I guess they can resell it if they do a replayly. And then we have in the notes here Resident Evil 5 rumors.
I mean, yeah, they remade 2, 3.
Choose,
and 4.
go.
And obviously there will be rumors that they're gonna remake Resident Evil 5, and I hope to God they don't do it. I don't know, Resident Evil 5 wasn't that good.
But what if they make it good? Like, what if they're like, this is Resident Evil 5, but good edition?
I mean, sure, if they make it good, I'll accept it.
They should just redo Resident Evil 1 and 0 also.
Right, and there's like other ones. There's like Veronica Chronicles, that's pretty good. There's like some spin-offs they could remake first before they should remake 5. And then if they remake 5 and they're also gonna remake 6, how are they gonna salvage 6? At least 5? You know, it still feels like a Resident Evil game, but 6 is like, I don't know, if it's like some like Tom Cruise fever dream. Like, I don't know how to explain. It's like Mission Impossible had like a child with Resident Evil. I don't know what's going on there. They literally ripped off that snowmobile mission from Modern Warfare 2.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's just crazy. But we should play it sometime. It's cool.
I think Resident Evil Revelations 2 is co-op. I don't know if it still is, but if we can play it, but we should try that also.
Also, another Resident Evil they should remake first. Oh, like Revelations 1 and 2. Like, those are better than 5 or 6.
That's it. That's my list.
You know, there's one more thing. Are we still getting the Prince of Persia remake? Is that still happening? I remember we talked about it before, but I kind of forgot what's going on.
Didn't they show something and then they're like, actually, we're not going to release this? And then they were like, but we're going to make it?
Yeah, they canceled pre-orders or something, but they were like, yeah, we're still making it. It's just later than we thought. I don't know. It's a pretty bizarre situation, but I don't even know why that's happening, honestly, but hey.
Okay, let's palate cleanse. What are the best remakes?
There's like 2 or 3 that come to my mind. Obviously, we talked about Fire Leaf and or Fire Red and Leaf Green or whatever. Those were really good. When I played those were probably one of the first remakes I ever played as a kid. But I did really enjoy Resident Evil 2's remake. I thought that was really, really great. So those 2 come to mind. And then Black Mesa, also really good. The Half-Life 1 remake.
Did that start as a fan project?
It started as a mod, yeah, and then they somehow got the rights. I don't know all the legality, but you know that evolved into its own thing, and that game is really, really good as well.
I think more recently, Persona 3 Reloaded or Reload, whatever it's called. I think that game was really well done for taking the old content and just modernizing the game a bunch. Call of Duty 4 Remastered, the campaign side at least, maybe not the multiplayer. But the campaign side, I thought it was pretty neat.
Did you play the Mafia remasters too?
Oh yeah, I did play Mafia 1. Mafia 1 was remade completely, and that one was good. It was good, definitely. Your vehicle isn't very, very slow like you remember. They have like a toggle where you can drive it like historically accurate mode or the game is at least still kind of fun mode.
That was some scuff way back in the day having to.
Yeah, they didn't have the toggle back in the day, so I know you had this like hatred about the original Mafia game.
Well, yeah, also the game soft locked at the church mission, and I could never beat it, so that was also.
Was that Mafia 2 though?
Was it 2? I don't know. Maybe it's 1 or 2? I don't know.
I can't remember. It's been a couple years since I played. I thought it was Mafia 2, but
maybe it's 2. But there was definitely something where the game soft locked and could never beat it.
This is a wild ride of a video. We tried to do a little bit of a different format for a longer form video, so if you don't mind us talking back and forth, or if you do mind, let us know in the comments what style of video you prefer, and we can kind of pave a way. I still want to do both no matter what, but how do we balance it out? Let us know. Huge shout out to our patrons and YouTube members for supporting these videos. You guys are the best. If you guys want to join and become a member or Patreon, or our patron, or a patron of our Patreon, there's a link in the description down below. You'll get your name on the credits here, which is cool. Could really use a couple more pledges, you know what I mean? But anyways, thanks so much for watching, guys. Oh, my move grade is achieved. I'm walking back and forth. I'm talking.
All right.
I think that's it. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time with a new video.
Goodbye.
Lucky Lotus, welcome, welcome.
Wait, Nick, was that new Perfect Dark game canceled?
No, it's just the dev team right now essentially doesn't exist, and there really hasn't been any like post-COVID announcements about it.
Fire, I thought it was for a second.
I just hope they get a dev team soon, because that stuff can crush a game. I knew it too, dude. Oh, that smells. I gotta clip that, as much as it hurts. Can't even have good spots. There's literally no way I could
What
have.
happened?
You know the jumps that I have to do? There were probably 40 zombies on a platform that's normally supposed to have like 2.
Yeah.
And by the time I was already on the like higher set of rocks, I had no armor. 0. Insta down. Didn't think I was gonna have an issue dropping and falling off the side there. Purple eyed because it's the Easter egg guy. Ignores whether or not I have Rampage Inducer on. That's frustrating. It's very frustrating.
Damn, see, that's it?
As sadistic as I am. That's it for this attempt. I'm not even... I'm not even sad. I didn't play bad. That's such a fucking joke. If I want to do that strat, I have to use either a... Because, like, honestly, what non-gobblegum method lets you distract zombies that big of a distance to like keep resetting it, you know? Other than like idolize. Because there's not even like a blue gobblegum.
Timeout.
Yeah. Those are banned though. Because it skips around. That's what I was trying to pop. Just to be like, fuck it, the run's not valid, but I'm not losing it. And it said some fucking thing up in the top right, like I was in an invalid action spot. And then it popped my fucking max ammo one, like. As mentally exhausting as it will be, I think I need to just sit down unironically for 7 to 10 days. And I am not allowed anything but this. I'm not playing anything else. I'm not doing other shit in between. I'm doing just that. Because I'm sick and tired of how often I lose a run due to me just essentially wanting to have fun during it. Because it makes me look like I'm not able. But then when you look and you realize Homeboy had a rocket launcher, Mustang and Sally's, and the dual Kodas, Homie was all on training and it was fine. I didn't die from training ever. But I go onto their buggy ass fucking platform just because they don't know how to handle keeping rocks somewhere. If they just made it to where when that one cutscene is triggered and it sits the fuck still, it would be fine. Because those zombies that are purple-eyed are spawning because it's an event for the map. The issue is, because I'm on round 500, those guys do 500, like round 500 health to me. And you can't live that. I know what it is. And I'm pissed. I'm actually very upset at myself. It's fine. We'll get it back. You know I will, but you know what I realized?
Rip.
All I gotta do is actually use my field upgrade for once. I don't know why I didn't comprehend that. I'm kind of surprised I'm just now thinking of that. Well, it is what it is.
BRB in like 39 secs.
Bet.
What happened?
I ate shit due to bad game. But I just have to work around bad game next time.
Damn.
It'd be like that. The way I had the spawn set up meant that every single time I loaded back in, I had to do this like mid-air parkour, which was not a problem. The problem was because it was a event spawn thing, the zombies that spawn from the ground are level 500 damage. So by the time I got to like plat 2, the normal like 3 to 4 zombies that were on me were actually about 60 for no real reason. I had not had that happen. And instead of just using Ether Shroud, we ate it. Because every time you fall off that rock, your screen blackens if you've ever played the Tomb. And then it deals damage to you and you like fall back down on it. And you have no momentum. And so that happened over and over again. I just had to hope, because I was regenning slowly over time, but I was never getting armor back, and I knew if I
Yeah,
dropped.
okay, that sucks lol.
Yeah.
Back.
Yeah. Yeah, this hundo, though, or this 999, when I get it, is going to feel so good. I'm just excited.
Getting all the weapon camos enough for me FR.
Well, that's what the fun thing is, Io. I'm sadistic. So a lot of really good weapon camos in this game are found at the weapons max prestige level. This is not the best example, but that's a lot of grinding. And because I already like zombies, it doesn't make me like down and out when I lose a run like that, because I'm not done with every weapon. Realistically, I'm the most upset because I'm running out of good weapons to use.
Yeah, I did that crap when they added it in MW3.
Yeah. And because they're doing a hidden mastery camo, if you remember the cold snap camo from MW or from Black Ops 4,
Where he needs like 300 KXP per camo.
Oh, bro, this like jokes on that. For reference, I am Prestige Master level 800, and I have only maxed out one.
It got up to 1 mil per camo and I stopped caring lol.
I don't even want to know what this goes to, because this is the new highest XP ladder. It barely eked out MW3, just for reference on how insane it is.
I can't even imagine what they have it at now.
2 prestiges, then a level 250. 249, you don't get that camo. That is over.
I was max level in that game, which was like LVL 1450.
That's probably where I'm gonna end up now that I lost that run, because I was making the joke. I honestly didn't know if I was gonna get my high round done there before I hit level 1000. But I'm definitely hitting level 1000 beforehand now. Pardon. Little tilt.